Our dog is making some sort of wheezing noise, a little bit concerning.
Sneezing.
Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 25th of March, 2018. It is a Sunday. Welcome to our European and UK news show where I conveniently was taking a drink of water and I told Leah, I said, I need to change. And she's like, no, you can't see it. Well, really, you can. So then she started to try to blow on it. Not helpful. All right, so today, if you haven't done so yet, and you are outside of the United States in the European area, y'all needed to turn your clocks back last night. So hopefully you did that, and now we are back to at least in the UK, our regular 5-hour difference. So we go live at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means it is 6 p.m. GMT.
It's great time. All right, so let's kick this episode off with a hero.
French hero.
Yes, oui. Unfortunately, there was another terror attack in France. A guy was trying to get his other terror buddy out of prison, decided to take some hostages, and this police officer exchanged himself.
That's incredible. Crazy.
I don't even know where to begin.
He's a hero. Literally, when I was trying to find a picture, Leah said, just look up French hero. And I'm like, how many of those can there be? I mean...
Killed in southern France after a gunman hijacked a car and took hostages at a supermarket in a small town. The attacker pledged allegiance to Islamic State and was eventually shot dead by special forces. Among those killed was a hero police officer who swapped places with a female hostage. He managed to leave a mobile phone on for the authorities outside the supermarket to listen in. When police heard gunshots, they moved to neutralize the attacker. Lieutenant Colonel Arnaud Beltram had been fighting for his life but passed away on Saturday morning.
Wow.
This is how the tragedy unfolded on Friday. The gunman hijacked a car on the outskirts of the town of Carcassonne during the morning, shooting dead one passenger and seriously injuring the driver. He later opened fire on a group of policemen who were out jogging, wounding one of them in the shoulder. Well, the gunman then drove to the nearby town of Trèbes, where he stormed a supermarket and killed 2 civilians and a police officer. An eyewitness described what he saw.
I went shopping with my wife and sister-in-law. After some time we heard an explosion, well, several. I saw a man lying on the floor and another person who was very agitated, with a handgun in one hand and a knife in the other, yelling Allahu Akbar. After that, I took my wife and my sister-in-law and some customers nearby, and we went to look for shelter. I put them in a butcher's fridge, closed from the inside.
The killer's been identified as a 26-year-old French citizen of Moroccan origin. He was known to the police for petty offences and low-level drug crime and was also under surveillance. Not unlike other similarly tragic incidents, locals had no idea there was a potential killer in their neighbourhood.
Wow.
It's peaceful here. We're a city like any other. He was very kind, very sociable, adorable. He offered sweets to the children, and he's a terrorist?
We're shocked, but not surprised, because we felt that there was a bad atmosphere in the city for some time.
There have been a number of terror attacks and thwarted attempts in France since the beginning of 2017 alone. In February, a man attempted to enter the Louvre Museum in Paris with a machete, while an attacker was stopped at Orly Airport just 1 month later.
I think they should ban machetes in France.
Dead in April on the Champs-Élysées, and in October, 2 young women were stabbed to death at a railway station in Marseille. Former UK police officer Peter Kirkham says even potential attackers under surveillance can still slip through the net.
I know the French and various other countries have tightened up their security services and their intelligence gathering over recent years, particularly after the spate of really serious incidents that happened in 2015 and 2016. This sort of attack, though, it's the sort of thing that will get through the very best of intelligence gathering functions. It's a small town in the middle of nowhere. It's not in a big city. It's not a predictable target. It's relatively low tech. Yes, there's a firearm involved, but they're not that difficult to obtain if you put your mind to it and have got criminal connections. We have got thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands,
the civilians,
more people with some
people,
question mark against
so
them.
they can't defend themselves
we've got resources
against the criminals
to
that
look
can
at
get
them.
guns.
And some, unfortunately, will get through. It's a simple...
So, Eric Mathis and his family sent me this t-shirt, and it says,
"Y'all need Jesus."
And so, this whole day, when we have problems, I am wearing
the answer.
Solution.
Y'all need Jesus.
Y'all need Jesus. Y'all need Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
They need Jesus. Yeah.
Listen, I know this is our UK European show news.
They need Jesus more than anybody else, baby.
But it rounds off, it all comes together because we are talking about countries where they have very strict gun laws. And these terror attacks are still happening despite the strict gun laws that they have. And
sure is.
they're not even, from what I understand, please don't quote me on this, but they can't even have stun guns in a lot of these countries.
I don't think so.
Like one of our viewers
pepper
just sent
spray. Like
art.
a
lot of them
you
can't
can
have
have
pepper spray.
cayenne, right? You can have cayenne pepper, I'm sure, to cook with.
Right.
You can have vinegar, you can have water, but you can't make your own pepper spray.
So I have a real problem when this guy just says it's easy. It's not that hard for a criminal to get a gun. We know they have machetes. We know they have knives. We know they do acid attacks. We know they drive cars into crowds of people. And so we know it's very easy for someone that wants to do damage to do it. And so somehow we think it's even better to disarm the regular citizens from being able to defend themselves from these things that are happening. It's very confusing to me.
It makes no sense. But I'll tell you what makes sense, and this is pretty awesome. This guy, Andrade Beltrami, I don't know how they said it just a minute ago, he stopped himself for a female hostage and put his life on the line knowing that he might not walk out.
And he didn't.
And, we had a march on Washington, how many lives need to be taken because of, the NRA or whatever, or because of the Second Amendment. How many people need to die from terror attacks? How many people need to pay the price? The Interior Minister, Catalan, paid tribute and said, Lieutenant Colonel, I'm going to get his name wrong. I should have listened better. Arnaud Beltrame has left us. Death for the fatherland. France will never forget his heroism, its bravery, its sacrifice. The heavy heart, I address the support of the whole country to his family, his relatives, and his companions. And so hats off to this French police officer who gave his life during this awful terror attack.
So La Resistance says you have to carry a big shield and body armor. Pretty soon they'll outlaw that too. Actually, but here's the thing. It's actually gotten to that point with all these rape cases. The women in, is it Sweden? No, Germany. Germany, they're having to wear like alarms, right? In Sweden, they have kind of like almost like a chastity belt type underwear for them to wear. It's gotten to the point where since you're not allowed to defend yourself,
right,
you have to at least protect yourself.
Yeah, I heard one school in the United States, they're giving kids like rocks or something.
No, I heard that too. They want to put 5-gallon buckets of rocks into every classroom, so at least they have something to. I think that's a bad idea. You want to know why I think it's a bad idea? Because then you have kids trying to get to there's only one bucket of rocks, right? And then it becomes like an Old West shootout where they're trying to, so if you put your head up to even have a gun, there's a chance you could get shot. So you got these kids trying to play hero with a rock. And instead they put their head out to throw a rock and boom, they get shot. No, this is not a good idea.
On Friday, we covered this and we went through a long list on how in France, the censorship on talking out against Islam is so great that if you do,
you can go to jail.
And the stark contrast of that was in 2015, after the very first large mass tragedy, about 1 million people marched against terrorism,
right,
and in effect Islamism, whatever you're going to call it. And then came the crackdown, because they realized that as the people rose up, there were more and more attacks that year. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, you got to silence
And this
people.
is exactly what happens, and I say this all the time on our show, but it bears repeating. That's what you do with an abuser. You don't ruffle the feathers of the abuser. Rather than kicking the abuser out of your life, putting them in jail, making sure they can't come into your country or your home or whatever, instead of doing that with an abuser, you just adjust. We understand this makes dad mad, this makes my boss mad, this is that, this is that, this is that, and you just don't do it, okay? That is wrong. It is 100%. You know, I remember George W. Bush coined the "we do not negotiate with terrorism, terrorists." That's what it is. No, this is negotiating with a terrorist. They don't like what you do, they abuse you, and then I just don't do that anymore.
Well, somebody translated this article for us, and it's 100 French public intellectuals sign a pamphlet rejecting Islamism.
Okay.
And so I want to read some of it. On March 19th, the French newspaper La Figaro published a pamphlet titled "No Against Islamist Separatism," signed by 100 French intellectuals denouncing a new totalitarianism threatening freedom in general. What follows is a translation of the entire pamphlet. We're going to read parts of it. And we are citizens with different opinions. We very often find ourselves opposing one another. We have agreed to express, regardless of what is currently in the news, their concern in the face of the rise of Islamism. It is not our similarities that bind us, but the feeling of the danger to freedom in general, and not just the freedom of thought. What binds us today is of a more fundamental nature than that which will undoubtedly separate us tomorrow. The new Islamist totalitarianism seeks to win ground by any means, and seeks to pass for a victim of intolerance. One could observe this strategy when the teachers union, the SUD Education 93, offered a few weeks ago a training course, including workshops on racism by the state, which were forbidden for whites. Certain hosts were members or sympathizers of the Collective Against Islamophobia in France and of the Party of the Indigenous People of the Republic. These kinds of organizations have been multiplying lately. From them, we have learned that the best way to combat racism is to separate the races. If that idea clashes with ours, it must be we are Republicans. We also hear it said that because religions are violated in France by an instrumentalized laïcité, I don't know what that word means, we must give to that which is in the minority, which is to say to Islam, a special place. So it ceases to be humiliated. The same line of thinking continues. By covering themselves with a veil, women protect themselves from men, and by setting themselves apart in this way, they are able to set themselves free. What these proclamations have in common is the thought that the only way of defending the dominated, not our choice of words, but this education pamphlet's choice of words, is to separate them from others and grant them privileges. I believe that is the best, most intelligent way of explaining what is happening across the board. Separate people who you feel are being marginalized and grant them privileges above somebody else. This is happening in the UK. In the UK, they are seizing, Theresa May is seizing $90 million from dormant bank accounts. I didn't know y'all could do that, but okay. $90 million, and she is allocating it to anybody who's not white, young people who aren't white, to help them get education and help them to get jobs.
When they talk about dormant
anyone
bank
who's
accounts,
not white,
what are these dormant bank accounts? I mean, are these people that are like missing for 6 years?
Yeah,
I mean, that kind of thing.
That
this money that's unclaimed. I didn't know there was $90 million worth of unclaimed money. I mean, we actually
Yeah.
can understand how that could happen within our
Right.
family. We know a little bit about that. But still, I think I'm like, what is this like? I mean, if you have a dormant bank account that you don't touch for like 10 years, are they going to take your money?
Yeah. It's socialism, baby.
Oh,
But here today is a new kind of apartheid proposed for France. A segregation turned on its head by which the dominated preserve their dignity by sheltering themselves from the dominant. The dominated shelter themselves from the dominant. However, what would that mean that a woman who removes the veil and goes into the street reverts to being a normal prey? What would that mean that a group that rubs shoulders with others is humiliated by that? Would that mean saying that a religion that accepts one amongst others loses face? And the French Muslims, or those with an Islamic cultural background who are not believers, love democracy and want to live with everybody, is Islamism planning to set them apart as well? And the women who refuse to be locked up, who will decide for them? And the others who seemingly do not seem to deserve protection, are they to be thrown together in the camps of the dominant? All this goes against everything that has been done in France to guarantee civil peace. Since long, the unity of this country is founded on indifference towards the particularities that may conflict. What is called Republican universalism consists not of a denial of the sexes, of the race, or of religion, but in defining a civil space independent of them so that nobody is excluded. And who is served by this segregation in the new style? Is it simply to permit the dominated to safeguard their purity by living amongst themselves? Is it not primarily to affirm the succession from the national community, its laws, and its mores? Is it not a most characteristic expression of the hatred towards our country and our democracy? The new separatism advances under cover. It wants to appear benign, but in reality, it is a weapon with which political and cultural Islamism seeks to conquer. Islamism seeks to be separate because it actually rejects others, which includes Muslims that do not share its ideas. Islamism detests the sovereignty of democracy because it denies its legitimacy completely. Islamism feels humiliated just because it is not dominant. There is no question of accepting this. We want to live in an undivided world where the two sexes can regard each other without being insulted by the presence of another. We want to live in an undivided world where women are not deemed inferior because of their nature. We want to live in an undivided world where people can mingle without fear. We want to live in an undivided world where no religion prescribes the law.
wow.
So I just was, I'm like, wow. And then 100 intellectuals signed this. Teachers, philosophers, draftsmen, writers, painter, directors, physicists, economists, documentary, historian, writer, philosopher. So maybe there's some hope for France. I don't know.
All right, so what I have here for you guys, let me push this to you. I think I can do that. Maybe I did. Let me see. Oh, look, I did. Fantastic. So, still learning the software here. A police officer left with serious injuries after a Manchester sword attack. This just happened. A man armed with a 3-foot sword, which I really think that swords should be banned in the UK.
You know what's hilarious about this? You like go into like any castle or whatever, do like the swords like in the hands of like the the knights.
I bet
in shining
they're
armor.
anchored. I bet they're stuck. But still, I mean, listen, if you're going to be having these kinds of
This
attacks,
is England.
a
You
sword
can't
attack.
ban swords. Can you?
No, they are probably already illegal. But if they aren't, they definitely need to
No,
be.
it's England. It's like the birthplace of swords.
A man armed with a 3-foot sword is
I'm
subdued
joking.
by police officers in the Whaley Range area of the city. A 23-year-old man was arrested after the officer was slashed with a sword in Whaley Range at about 1:50 p.m. Greater Manchester Police said the officer is currently in hospital with serious injuries. The force added a number of roads around. I'm going to get this wrong.
Dempsey?
Dimsnay
Road.
The residential street where the incident happened have been closed off. Footage of the incident showed 2 police vans and a car blocking Dimsnay Road as officers get out of the vans, some with riot shields to protect from the sword. A man can be seen running down from a terraced house, and the officers can be seen backing off as one points a stun gun at him. At least the police officers can have a stun gun. They get the man on the ground and on his back. The GM police said a 23-year-old man has been arrested after a police officer was slashed with a sword in Whaley
I
Range.
think you read that, so he can be seen.
I'm writing in... She had to do it in British accent. He can then be seen brandishing what looks like a sword from the side to side before one officer uses his baton to subdue and then arrest him. One witness, Haroon, said he saw a man being arrested by officers on Upper Colton Road at about 2:50 p.m. who had been attacking the police. He said the man was carrying a 3-foot sword and ran across the road into the front garden of a property on the street. From there, the police tried to stun him because he wasn't dropping the weapon. I don't know if the officer made a successful tase. He said he became even more aggressive and ran towards them with the weapon in the air. From there, the officers tackled him, pushed him over, and then I think he ran backwards and fell over. That is when the officer tried to disarm him, and you could see them using their weapons, batons. And they were hitting him in the legs, and he was not letting go. You could see him still hitting back while he was on the floor. I think the ground. He said the man had hit a couple of the officers and that he saw them bleeding, one from the lip and the nose and around their head. And he said the man was shouting during the incident. Greater Manchester Police confirmed a man was arrested. So the force said the injuries of the officers
what was he shouting?
Suffered were to the face and back, and although serious, are not thought to be life-threatening.
I'm going to let you guess what he might have been shouting.
Oh, there we go. Look, we're back. All right. I don't know. He was probably shouting, I have a sword! I have a sword! And I'm going to attack you with my 3-foot sword.
So,
I love that they were using batons to subdue the guy and tasers and stuff.
Ahmed Hassan, the London tube bomber, he has been tried and sentenced, but it's not the sentencing that catches our eye here.
Wait a minute. Mitt Huckabee on Facebook Live says, I refuse to talk Second Amendment with someone who gets their politics from SpongeBob. I love that. All of these kids marching on Washington, getting their politics from SpongeBob.
That is true. Thank you for that. That's
and
true.
Happy Palm Sunday to everyone. Jesus triumphal entry, David says.
I got this shirt from Eric Mathis and his family. I'm wearing it
Y'all
today.
need Jesus.
Y'all need Jesus. So that's that. That's the answer to all the problems today that we're going to bring to you.
Sook says there is irony that in the U.S., baton use by the police is limited because they are considered police brutality.
And in the UK, guns are brutality. Just bang them.
Yes.
They bang them. All right. So what stands out about Ahmed Hassan's headline from the BBC is that he was a Surrey teenager. Well, that might be interesting. Like, let's say, but see, if I move to France and I move to an area of France, are they going to say, you know, I'm a Paris resident? No, you're going to say an American girl living in Paris,
lady, woman, whatever.
This is an Iraqi refugee, but they this is what we call lying by omission. And this is what's done in our history textbooks. I was thinking about this today. This whole March on Washington, the only reason it can happen is because generations from the 40s
those who do not know their history are destined to repeat it.
From the 40s on have had a rewritten history. And so the lies in their head are lies of omission.
Right.
And transmitting false things. So, breaking, dangerous and devious Surrey teenager jailed for life for Parsons Green 2 bombing, in which 51 people were injured. I think I said London. Sorry, Parsons Green. Read the social media post, earning a string of incredulous responses from users who felt the broadcaster was attempting to obscure Hassan's origin as a supposed alleged child refugee who came in illegally from Cali. He wasn't a Surrey resident. Okay. And the sentencing that the magistrate gave him suggested that he may be older than he claimed. Go figure on that. Seriously, BBC Southeast, what do you think you're doing? Asked former UKIP press chief Gowan Tower. He is not a Surrey teenager, not in any serious manner of speaking. He's Iraqi and a terrorist, an Islamist terrorist at that.
Well said.
Islamist terrorist attacker. This was not the first time the BBC had implied the migrant is a Surrey native, however. The tweet from the BBC London newsroom described Hassan as the Surrey teenager. #Surrey teenager. Accused of building and placing a homemade bomb on a train which partially exploded at Parsons Green. This tweet mysteriously disappeared after public backlash, but the BBC Southeast tweet remains online, at least for now. He looks quite a bit older in the hand drawing there. It's not quite true that Hassan was jailed for life, you see. In fact, he did receive a 34-year minimum term, almost 10 years less than the far-right extremist Darren Osborne, who targeted Muslims in Finsbury Park, rather than a whole life tear-up, although the BBC does clarify this in the article their tweet links to. So he was not jailed for life, 34 years. You could be out in no time, really.
Especially if he's so young, if he's younger than
But the real issue here is that Hassan was allowed to stay in Britain after illegally immigrating via Calais, despite telling authorities he had been trained to kill by the Islamic State.
Wow.
And I don't really know what to say about this. Trained to kill. I've been trained to kill, been working with Islamic State, but hey, I'm coming illegally, but could I stay? Could I stay? Oh, sure, come on in. We got a place for you. We'll set you up.
Shawnee Show says that if Leah went to Paris, they would get out the red carpet for a state visit from the Queen of Ohio, although tonight she's not wearing her jewels.
No, I have on my shirt that says, y'all need Jesus. I got this from Rick Manth, so that's what, y'all need Jesus. That's what we're talking about. So the grooming gangs are not, as one might think, just in the UK. Now, I think the main reason we don't hear a lot from the rest of Europe is the language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we cover a lot of UK news because we can read it. Even we read that French translation, it doesn't just come out right?
Could be your accent.
It could be my accent. But in Spain, I'm sure this is happening more. But there are grooming gangs in Spain as well. But I don't think we're hearing about them, or they're not coming forward enough, in my opinion. But 10 Algerian men were caught and arrested in eastern Spain this week after they were alleged to have sexually abused 3 underage girls by luring them to an apartment offering what? Drugs and money. The 10 migrants were brought to court on charges of sexual abuse in the city of Alicante, where they are believed to have sexually molested and assaulted 3 girls, 14, 15, and 17. The men are said to have met the young girls and offered them both drugs and money to come back with them to the apartment. All 3 of the girls, according to the Spanish police, had run away from a boarding school for troubled young people. So they target these young girls who I know who they are.
Right.
I know exactly. They're everywhere. They're all over the world.
Right.
And they target them. And it's not the same as if one guy is preying on one girl. This is a gang. 10 guys. And how many more? Only 10 were arrested, right?
Right.
So it said the police stated the affair stated that one of the girls was locked up for 24 hours, during which the group members assaulted her and abused her repeatedly. Okay, this is not a consensual thing happening.
I want to reiterate something that, and I'm going to totally forget the guy's name, from that roundtable discussion that we played, I think, last Sunday, where he said, listen, we can talk about just regular molestation, and that happens predominantly by white males because in our Western populations, and in the UK he was talking about specifically, but that's because most guys in the UK are white, and so that number reflects that percentage. But when it comes to these grooming gangs, 84% of the molestations and rapes that are happening within the UK in the grooming gangs are taking place by these Muslims from specific countries and
in
stuff.
The UK it's Pakistanis, but this is Algerians, so it does cross state lines. It does cross countries. It is cultural.
It's not just cultural, it's religious.
Right. Exactly. So Spain has become this entry point for Europe. There's an article from January. It says massive increase of migrants are headed to Spain. So
Jim West, I just have to read this comment because it's fantastic, and I want to incorporate you guys a little bit more. Just says Jesus, Trump, and Bacon, Dream Team, and Jim's from the UK, by the way.
Okay. I can dig it. I dig it.
it.
So we're in Spain. We're talking about Spain. Why don't you go ahead and go to
The
Catalonia
Catalan
there
deal here. Let's see. Let's do the RT article instead of the BBC article. How about that? Okay, let's go back. Hopefully this is the right one. It is. Okay, so ex-Catalan leader Charles Puigdemont.
I love to say that. Can we just say that 10 times?
Puigdemont.
Don't say it more than once.
No.
Puigdemont.
There is a BBC article here, and it says they changed their title, I think. I think they did. It was a little bit more harsh the way that they said it. They pretty much like called him a fugitive or whatever. All right. Charles Puigdemont has been detained in Germany, according to the former Catalan president's lawyer. An arrest warrant had been issued for Puigdemont in Finland after the former president visited the country for talks with lawmakers. He was returning to Belgium, where he lives in self-imposed exile, when he was detained by German authorities after crossing the border from Denmark. And then there's a title there. Let's see. That was tweeted out. Puigdemont is now said to be in a police station awaiting his legal team. German police have confirmed the arrest. It is unclear where Puigdemont is being held. Protesters took to the streets of Barcelona to protest his arrest on Sunday. Puigdemont fled Finland after authorities there confirmed they had received an extradition request from Spain. Spain has requested extradition of its national who is currently visiting Finland. The Finnish National Bureau of Investigation said in a statement on Saturday the police have reported to the prosecutor and have engaged in the exchange of additional information with Spanish authorities. A European arrest warrant for Puigdemont and a number of his aides was issued by the Spanish Supreme Court Friday. Puigdemont is wanted on charges of rebellion and sedition after leading a pro-independence referendum deemed illegal by the Spanish government last year. So I haven't actually clicked on this video. I don't know what it will end up entailing. I'm sure that's all it is. So anyway,
so what does this have to do with anything? What does it have to do with you? What does it have to do with the EU? What does it have to do with the UK? Catalonia, for better or for worse, wanted to make some independent decisions.
Right. They've been fighting this for ever.
And in the EU, you're not allowed to make independent decisions.
Right.
Period. And they will squish and squash any sort of independent decisions at all whatsoever. And that's why this is a big deal. Because you should be allowed to have
any kind of referendum. Yeah. And listen, I have to be honest. If California wants to succeed from the union, if they want to leave and do their little Cal exit thing, if they want to present that before their people, fine, whatever, I don't care. Like, in all honesty, I really do not care. Everything should happen by the people. Okay? And so whether you agree with the kind of government that the Catalonian, it's Catalan, not Catalonian, it's Catalan people would have had. A lot of people say it would have been socialist and it would have been terrible. Well, if they elect their socialist government, or almost communist, democratically, I don't know.
The EU is communism. Like, it's communism in their sense of the word, where they're taking everybody and putting them in this giant box. Now, the European Union will reject democracy and become a modern empire, a new book has claimed. As the author warns, the superstate will be met with some resistance. The Nation Against Nationalism, written by Gil Delanoni, a professor at the Sciences Po Institute in Paris, declares the EU will become a superstate. But Mr. Delanoy questions why the bloc would embark on such a risky political venture when a tried and tested model of liberal democratic government already exists. He said, utopia or not, this goal is not desired by the crushing majority of Europe. The professor added, the EU is not post-national.
I can't get over that picture of Juncker. He looks like a Shriner. Like, what is that? It almost looks like something that somebody put together.
Whatever it is, it's
He's getting an honorary degree. And,
right.
I mean, this is classic Juncker, though. I mean, you could see him wearing that to a toga party or something, I think. You know, drinking himself under the table.
He's happy in his little cake hat.
Sorry.
The EU is not post-national nor a superstate of a corporation of nations. It could have been all of those things, but thanks to the political arrangement and bureaucracy, it is almost incapable of going backwards or forwards, and we're still incapable of thinking and initiating debate. It is this denial of politics which risks the EU becoming insignificant. The EU instead has two options, according to this author. He told French newspaper Liberation, the EU has two possibilities. Either it continues to only concentrate on the economy, or it develops democratic institutions like a real parliament or referendums that require nations and citizens to cooperate at all levels. There are so many things that you in the UK and in Europe, you don't vote on when it comes to the EU. You don't even get to, you vote, the people that you put into the EU, the MEPs or whatever, from what I understand, they only get to vote on things that are proposed by the head honchos who aren't voted on. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. Discussing the end of the Soviet Empire, German reunification, China's rise to power, Mr. Delanoy suggests that the history of nations and the redefinition of nationalism proposed in the book shows the democratic nation will not disappear. In the book, he says, overcoming the nations with the European Union, me and I am pro-EU, and I am telling you won't work. He claims nations are the best defense against nationalism in an international world. And he wrote in the book, the majority of wars between states are caused because of the absence of democracy. He said dictatorships, nationalists or not, hijack patriotism and make an aggressive instrument to propaganda, recession, and battles. And so, yeah, people do want this United States of Europe. You already have it in essence, but to tighten those reins is beyond me.
Well, I think that the United States of Europe it's not just a tightening of the reins, and it is. And to bring this to kind of a stupid level, but the European Union is going the way of MySpace, and they're trying to develop a Facebook. Okay, so like seriously, they're losing their grip because all of these nations are realizing we have no control anymore. We entered this for trade, man.
Right.
Just trade. It was just supposed to be free trade. And now all of a sudden, y'all are making all of our laws and controlling everything that we do, flooding our countries with undesirable migrants that we're having to fund, and we have no say in it whatsoever. And we just entered this so that we could trade a little bit easier. They're waking up to that. And so it's going the way of the dinosaur. And they're trying to resurrect something new in this United States. And it's kind of like a billboard. They're just slapping a new thing on it and calling it something fresh. And it's not anything new.
Listen, I want the EU to disband. I want it to fall apart. I'm really excited when I see nations rising up.
Yeah.
This whole terrorism thing is, you know, my mom has even said the best thing that happened to Christianity is Islam, to waking people up. And I hope it does wake people up, but I don't want to see people hurt. And so I wanted to give this refresher. Breitbart came up with a refresher on Mom's birthday, the 23rd, of the terrorist attacks that are happening all over Europe. And let's just go over a few of these.
Speaking of our mother, Sean had asked if she was going to show up. She is in the chat. Everybody's asking if she had a good birthday. We didn't get a chance to celebrate her birthday on her birthday with
Yesterday
her
we
on the
did.
23rd, but yesterday we made a whole day of fun
What do you get
birthday.
your mom for her birthday? Discounted organic fertilizer.
Among
Tractor
other
Supply.
things, a big giant bag of circus peanuts. And show them the
Solar
thing.
lights.
Just get the thing.
No,
Get
I'm
one of
not
the things.
gonna
Just
do
get the thing.
What, one of these?
Yeah.
Oh, Mom's favorite things.
She loves to put these in the yard. So we got her a few of these.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're fun. Who doesn't want these blown around their yard?
I feel blessed. All right, in France, in the country's first jihadist attack, two brothers who vowed allegiance to Al-Qaeda gunned down 12 people in January 2015 at the Satirical Weekly Charlie Hebdo in Paris.
Donna Terry.
What?
She says, as usual, I have barn work to do, but it's got to wait until after the chicks.
That's funny.
Go do your work.
Take us with you on your phone and put it in your pocket.
All right, continue.
The next day, a man linked to the Islamic State group shoots and kills a policewoman in a Paris suburb. He takes a hostage at a Jewish supermarket just outside Paris. The following day, killing 4 more. All 3 gunmen are killed by police. In November of 2015, France suffers its worst terror attacks when 130 people die in a string of bombings and shootings at the Bataclan concert hall and several bars and restaurants in Paris and at the Stade de France Stadium, and ISIS claims responsibility. On France's July 14th national holiday in 2016, a man rams a truck into a crowd in the Mediterranean resort of Nice, killing 86 people. Truck, 86. Truck, 86. Before,
but if we just ban trucks,
yeah,
then those 86 people would be alive today.
Yeah, he's shot dead. ISIS claims responsibility. July 2016, 2 teenagers linked to ISIS slit the throat of an 85-year-old priest in front of worshipers at his church. More than 250 people have been killed since 2015 in attacks in France. In Britain, March of 2017, 5 people die when a man runs his car into pedestrians on Westminster Bridge in London and then fatally stabs a police officer outside Parliament. The attacker is shot dead by the police, ISIS. May 2017, a bombing at a pop concert, Ariana Grande, Manchester, 22 people killed, ISIS. June 2017, a van. 2017 was just a bad year for the UK. A van rams into a crowd. And three assailants leave the vehicle armed with knives and attack passengers. 8 people are killed and around 50 wounded. Police shoot dead the attacker, ISIS. Spain, August 2017, a 22-year-old Moroccan man mows down pedestrians with a van on Barcelona's most famous street,
Las Ramblas,
killing 14 people. He then goes on to kill a man from whom he steals a car. Hours later, 5 of his accomplices ram a car into pedestrians in the seaside town of Cambrils, south of Barcelona. Police kill the attackers. ISIS says it was them. Belgium, March 2016, suicide bombers claimed by ISIS killed 32 people and injured 340 more at Brussels airport. Germany, 2016, a Tanzanian man hijacks a truck and plows into shoppers at a Christmas market in Berlin, kills 12. The attacker is shot dead. 4 days later, ISIS. Denmark, 2015, a gunman opens fire at a cultural center in Copenhagen. The filmmaker is killed. Hours later, another man is shot. Policemen killed the gunman. ISIS. Sweden, 2017, a truck plows into shoppers, killing 5 people and others were injured. I remember seeing that. One little girl just decimated. So this is what's happening, and you're not allowed to say that it's Islamism. You're not allowed to say that Islam has anything to do with this.
And you're not allowed to say that these are happening in countries with strict gun laws where armed civilians may have been able to at least lessen the attack, shorten it. The 75 people that were killed by the truck. How long does a truck have to be driving down a road?
It was 84, I think. 84 people.
Whatever, however many it was. I thought it was 75. But how long does a truck have to be going down a road to kill 75 or 84, however many it is?
So what's the
people? If y'all need Jesus, and y'all need a gun. Like, seriously, a trained NRA, concealed carry representative or civilian here in the United States could have stopped that truck before it killed all 75 of those people.
True that.
And there's a lot of them around here. It's very rare for you to be in a crowd of people and there not to be several people that are concealed carrying.
So there are some people making a stand, and in the UK and Birmingham, the Football Lads Alliance. I like how I love the word lads.
Football lads.
I like the word lads. It's not guys. It's not dudes. The football lads. I like it. It gives an air of
respectability
and fun. So around 5,000 people have protested against recent terror attacks and extremism and support of the victims of the 1974 Birmingham pub bombings, thought to have been organized by the IRA. The protests were organized by the Football Lads Alliance, the FLA, and the True Democratic Football Lads Alliance, the TDFLA, and the Veterans Against Terrorism, passing off peacefully with no arrest or significant disturbances. The TDFLA had a large gathering in Birmingham's Victoria Square and were addressed by the UKIP leader and member of the European Parliament, Gerard Batten. So here we go.
Now, from what I understand, they actually went to London last year, and I think we covered it last year as well.
I listened to this earlier today. I'm still trying to figure out what they're saying. I'm going to tell you what it sounds like. All 21 for fish. Sorry. I wish
Somebody here will tell us.
There's only one Lee Rigby.
I think that's exactly what they're saying. That's exactly what they're saying.
All right, so UKIP has a new leader who spoke today.
Indeed, through the generations, as we can see today. And that is made much worse if those people do not have what justice can be found in bringing the perpetrators to justice and finding out what happened, why it happened, and why it wasn't pursued all those years ago. Now, just let me finish by saying it isn't enough just to oppose terrorism. We're all opposed to terrorism. We're all opposed to murder and indiscriminate crime. If we want to end this scourge in the world, then we have to oppose the ideologies that use terrorism, that use violence. Ideologies that rely on terrorism in order to propagate themselves have no place in Western, liberal, democratic civilization. UKIP is now rallying itself from the recent difficulties that we've had, and I can assure you we will come back stronger as a fighting force. We're going to restore ourselves as a force in national politics. We will defend the national interest. We will defend the British people. We will defend free speech. We will defend our laws and our way of life.
Jim West says not a single arrest over 3 of these marches.
We want trade, friendship and cooperation with the rest of the world, but we need a government in this country and a House of Commons and a House of Lords that actually defends our interests and looks after our own people.
Very true.
And what a better way for me to start off in UKIP's new direction, or in fact carrying on with the things that we always did, but carrying on and doing them even better, is to start off by defending and supporting this cause for justice for the 21 victims of the Birmingham culture. Thank you.
Yay!
Well said.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. Let's play another video here.
Let's talk about terrorism. Why this group was set up in the first place. How many jihadis in the UK that they don't know where they are? Are they just waiting for a signal? Are these sleeper cells? There's other issues that are going on as well.
It was late. It's very late, but I can't sleep at the minute. And I can't sleep because what's going through my mind almost every second of every day since Sunday is what's happened in Telford. I cannot express how angry I am.
I totally disagree with girl grooming. There's no clear issue with me.
I think Telford is going to prove to be a turning point for this country. Now, we've said that many times before, but I hope I'm right this time. I was looking at the remembrance page of one of the victims. This girl was killed. She was raped. She was abused, and then she was killed in what the people that killed her called a prank. She's dead. That little girl was called Becky Watson. She was 13 years old, and she was raped by Muslim men who treated her like a piece of meat. And then when they finished with her, they killed her. What do the authorities do? For 40 years, they do absolutely nothing. And because of corrupt, disgusting, filthy politicians who are too scared to name the problem as it is.
I'm here for the victims of terror, because there's people being murdered in our country by terrorists.
How many Muslim women have you taken into your home because they're fleeing on the base violence and death? I've done it. I've taken it. You want to call me far right? I challenge you all on the left to take a woman in and save her life. And until you can, don't you dare judge me. Here's an idea. Why don't you be part of the bastards who want to kill us and close Parliament?
As we stand here, standing for the 22 that were murdered by an Islamic scumbag terrorist.
That together, you guys are doing a really good job, so thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Worth a Look says that the British will explode at some stage if things don't change soon, and I think that is what we're seeing. We're seeing people, and I love how he said that in Telford. I think it is going to be the turning point when that massive ring of grooming gangs has been exposed. It has put final kind of proof to anybody that was wavering about whether Islam really is a danger to British society, if it's really happening. And it is. And I love what that one lady said. She said, listen, how many of you have taken in Muslim women that are fleeing their husbands from abuse? Because I've done it. And call me far right for doing it, but how many of you on the left are actually doing that? This religion does not discriminate with abuse of women, and all of the feminists should be up in arms about this. And it's taking the football lads, the veterans were marching, it said, I think gays also, because Islam is against homosexuality to the point of killing people for it. So think
there's a whole campaign called Justice for the 21. John Nooney, a spokesman for the TDFLA, said, "We are here today to give our full backing to the Justice for the 21 campaign, referring to a group seeking justice for the victims of the Birmingham pub bombings and their families. We are a group made up mainly of football fans from all over the country. We are an anti-extremism organization which aims to address the concerns of ordinary people. We are a peaceful organization looking forward to making this a great success in Birmingham today." So Tommy Robinson was there.
In Birmingham. This is the third ever Football Lads Alliance demonstration. The Football Lads Alliance is football supporters from across the country putting down their rivalries and putting down their opposition and coming together to oppose the Islamisation of Britain. What you have today is the Veterans Against Terrorism, ex-members of our armed forces who have had enough, who are fed up with the current state of our country and the direction we're going down, and you have peaceful protests. Stand Up to Racism and the mainstream media have labelled this organisation as far right as racist. We've walked through the crowds, you've seen Gurkhas, you've seen different ethnic minorities, you've seen a combination of people. There's no racism in this movement. There's no racists here. This is a combination of common people coming together who are fed up, who are angry, who are frustrated. The Football Lads Alliance are an organisation that sprung up after 3 consecutive terrorist attacks against our country. Today they're holding a demonstration in concession with Veterans Against Terrorism. Members of our armed forces have now united. Football supporters, that's the Football Lads Alliance, who are rivals week in, week out, have put down their opposition and they've come together. We're now in Birmingham. In this city, you have Aston Villa and Birmingham Football Club. They are fierce rivals. The two would never go together. Today, they stood over there together. For the first time, that's a historic moment. a historic moment that these arch rivals have put away their differences and come together. They're standing together against the Islamisation of their country, they're standing together against terrorism, and they're demanding a change in the direction our nation's going in.
You have our official support, as you always have had, and that will continue, and we will do everything we can to support you.
I've been here today. What you've seen today is a lot of ordinary patriotic people, and they're not all white. There's Asian people, there's black people, there's Gurkhas standing in front of that platform. These are ordinary, decent people of whatever ethnic background they happen to come from. But the easiest way to close down a discussion or a debate about anything is to call people racist, except that it is now losing its power because everybody knows it isn't true. Well, it depends what you hate. I hate communism, I hate fascism, I hate Islam, I hate fascism. Am I entitled to hate those things? If you can hate the totalitarian systems of Germany, the Soviet Union and China, why can't you hate the totalitarian system of Islam or Mohammed? If I correct myself, why can't you hate lots of things? I love lots of things. I don't hate people.
If you have 500 people protesting about Brexit or protesting to stay in the European Union, it's BBC National News. What we have here is a combination of ex-armed forces, we have Gurkhas, we have different representations from all different communities coming together who are fed up with the attack on our country and the threat we face. I just want to say a personal thank you to everyone.
All right, so this is the welcome to the Leah and Michelle show when we don't know something. We Google it. The Gurkhas. We were like, oh, there's Asian people in the front. Who are these people? So Wikipedia tells us the
They're
Gurkhas,
soldiers of Nepal and recruited by the British Army, the Nepal Army, the Indian Army, and the Gurkha Contingent Singapore, Gurkha Reserve Unit Brunei, UN Peacekeeping Force in war zones around the world. Historically, the terms Gurkha and Gurkhali were synonyms with Nepali. So basically, they're people from Nepal who were recruited to fight for the British.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm greatly encouraged now that I know a little bit about this, So I don't know. That's fantastic. And the fact that they're willing to stand up in front of that platform
That's pretty cool, man.
is really, really encouraging.
That's pretty cool. The FLA heard from speakers including Anne-Marie Waters and Tommy Robinson. During the describing the protests as a whole, Robinson said, what you have today, as we just heard, you've got everybody together. Veterans against terrorism, ex-members of our armed forces. Everybody just wants to stand up. So let's see here.
We've been planning this operation for some time. We've been working with all the groups for many, many weeks now and negotiating with them. It's worked really well with partners today, both the business community, the retail community, and everyone we've been working with. Our aim was to facilitate the lawful protest and lawful assembly of all the groups here, and that's what's happened today. The community response to the policing style today has been really positive. We've had great feedback, both on the ground at the protest sites, but also across all media and social media. So my message to everyone is a big thanks for all of your help across Birmingham today. Big thanks to the public for their understanding.
So it's pretty cool. And I think, when people say, is Europe finished? No, people are standing up, and I want you guys to keep standing up and keep standing up for people who are standing up. And the best thing you need is Jesus. Y'all need Jesus.
Chris Holman says that he served with a Gurkha in Afghanistan. Britt Baza says all women are safe around Gurkhas. They will cut the throat of any attacker of a woman in the UK. So there you go. Now you know.
Now you know.
Cool. We learn something new every day here at Resistance Chicks, and we do too.
Well, hey, we're going to Australia. Can you give me an Australian accent?
We're going to go to Australia.
Yeah.
Australian airline base.
Bands.
Bands, words like gays, mum, dad.
No. Not gays.
Guys, I can read. Starting over.
How about read? Before you read, comprehend what you're saying before it comes out your mouth.
I can't. Wait, try again. Okay, wait. They don't ban words like gay, but they may.
I'm gonna go get that boomerang. It might help you, yes.
Okay. Australian airline bans words like guys, mums, dads, husbands, and wife because they are considered gendered inappropriate language.
Inappropriate.
Australian airline Qantas has launched an initiative to encourage the staff to stop using gender inappropriate language that might cause offense to the LGBTI community.
What's I?
I don't know. What is I? Independent. You're sexually independent, I suppose. I don't know. All I know is over here.
Intersex? I think it's intersex.
Fine, whatever.
Whatever that means. I don't even know what it means.
An information package was sent out to the airline employees by People and Culture Group executive Leslie Grant ahead of the company's Spirit of Inclusion Month. The airline has included words at work materials on the company intranet and suggests employees refrain from gender-specific words such as honey, love, and guys.
If I'm going to Australia, you better say love. It's just a thing. Hey, love. Hey, love. It's like every movie, everything, every interview with it. Hey, love. Why can't you say that?
I don't know.
They want to kill love.
All right. Well, the terms partner, spouse, and parents are preferred above the more
How do you know if
exclusionary
somebody's
husband
there
and
as your
wife and mom and
partner?
dad.
How do you know somebody? How will you know?
But how is honey and love and guys like specific? Because love could go both ways and honey could go both ways.
There's
I'm a little
your
bit confused
parent,
about that.
your one parent, and your other parent, not your mom or your dad.
So Sean says they got that from us, Leah.
They also suggest employees try to refrain from man interruptions, whereby a man interrupts when a woman is speaking.
You know what? I have to tell you that around our house, it's usually the other way around.
Like, in my whole life, I usually haven't experienced that. It's always the women who interrupt.
Because they can't stop talking. And I'm one of them, I know.
Can we have stop women interruptions?
Speaking on the 4BC radio, Tony Abbott, who's the former Aussie PM, has said that he thinks the move is political correctness gone way over the top. He said, frankly, if companies like Qantas want to give their customers a better deal, they can scrap all these inclusion units, just scrap them and save the money because it's just rubbish. This idea that they need a corporate thought police.
So that's our news out of Australia for you today.
G'day, mate. Goodbye, women and men and anything in between. No, everything in between is okay.
Yeah. So,
right.
There's a riot that broke out Friday. Back to Barcelona. Sorry, volume here. Riots broke out in Barcelona Friday after the High Court announced the temporary imprisonment of 6 pro-independent ministers. They have been accused of rebellion, sedition, and misappropriation. I'm going to turn this down before I
blast everybody's ears.
Blast you all to smithereens. So these people are taking it seriously on both sides. Drop them in jail for holding a referendum and a vote. What were they going to do with the vote? It's not like they were taking things over. They literally just wanted a vote to vote on something. So we had some riots over this. Burning. Yeah, it's not a peaceful place. Wow. Okay, pretty upset here.
I don't know, I'm probably in front of the pictures.
Yeah, so, yikes. Wow. Yikes. I don't know. You guys have some craziness over there. All right, so let's go to Germany here. Syrian refugee lives with 2 wives and 6 children in Germany, and they're all on benefits.
Yay! So what's going to be so excited about this? He probably already covered it on his channel.
Zu Spiegel TV.
Good evening,
Ein Mann,
and
zwei
welcome
Ehefrauen.
to Spiegel TV. A man and his 2 wives
Und 2 Ehefrauen,
live in the
wohnhaft
front
vor den
gates of
Toren
Hamburg.
Hamburgs. Emanzipatorisch.
As far as emancipation is concerned, the refugee wave has not brought only progress to Germany.
Hat die Flüchtlingswelle Deutschland nicht nur Fortschritte gebracht.
Instead, our reporter Andrew
Stattdessen
Musa
lebt die
found that the
syrische
Syrian family
Familie,
living
die
in
unser
a kind of
Reporter
mini
Andrew
harem.
Musa ausfindig gemacht hat, in einer Art
Completely without
Mini-Harem.
method and
Ganz
apparently
ohne
without legal
Methodebatten
difficulties.
und offenbar auch ohne rechtliche Schwierigkeiten,
Although
obwohl
so-called
die
polygamy is
sogenannte
permitted in this
Vielehe
country.
hierzulande verboten ist.
Insight
Einblick
into a
in
very
ein
different
sehr
family life,
fremdes
a normal day
Familienleben.
for a Syrian refugee
Ein
family.
ganz normaler Tag einer syrischen Flüchtlingsfamilie.
Ahmad lives with 2
Ahmad
wives
lebt
and 6
mit seinen
children
beiden Frauen und 6 Kindern in einem
in a
kleinen
small house
Häuschen
in the
im
Pingberg
Landkreis
district near
Pinneberg bei
Hamburg.
Hamburg.
About 2 years
Vor
ago,
rund
they
2
fled
Jahren
war
flohen
in their
sie vor dem
homeland.
Krieg in ihrer
They came
Heimat,
through Turkey and
kamen über
Greece.
die Türkei
Ahmad had
und
always wanted to come to
Griechenland
Germany. Oh, I'm sure he did.
Ahmad wollte
Always.
immer nach Deutschland.
Always thought of Germany. They give me support here on welfare benefits.
So great.
They give me this house. How much do you get per month? I don't know that. The money's transferred. I just go to the bank. I pick it up. I'm
Überwiesen. Und ich gehe zur Bank und hebe es ab.
gonna stop that right
Oh
there.
my gosh. So what says that he did cover it? That Spiegel is a leftist big media outlet.
And I can't believe they're covering it then.
Well, they're kind of covering it in like a good light. A
Really?
little bit. I mean,
Mini harem is a good
well,
light?
I don't know. It sounds like they're kind of playing it up. Like, look, he's got this.
I
great
always
life.
wanted to come to Germany. I lived in Syria just dreaming about Germany. And you know what I like about Germany? They give me welfare. They give me benefits. They put me up in a house. All I do is
go to the bank and pick up the money.
That's all I do, baby. That's all I do. Here's his second wife. She was married
13.
when she was 13. Don't tell me there's not pedophiles in Islam and that child marriages aren't sanctioned by
But if we
Islam.
lower the age to marry, then it won't actually be pedophilia.
6 years earlier, the unskilled worker had married Batul according to the Sharia.
6 Jahre zuvor hatte der ungelernte Arbeiter gemäß der Scharia Betul geehelicht. Von seiner
Ahmad lives
dritten
separated
Frau
from
Leah.
his third wife. She lives in Syria. Our faith in Allah helps us.
Uns hilft der Glaube
There is no jealousy among us. There cannot be. I also make sure there is no dispute among us for whatever reasons.
Egal aus welchen Gründen.
Can I just say, ew. Icky, icky, ew.
But
his
it's
third
trying
wife
to,
is
hang
still
on,
in
though.
Syria.
But they're trying to make this whole thing like mainstream here in
Right.
the United States. They've got these movies that are coming out. You know, what are they calling it?
Polyamorous.
Relationships.
Why is it that we on the right-ish conservative libertarian movement are always called misogynist? When this guy owns these girls, controls them, I make sure there's no dispute. I make sure there's no jealousy over me to one man. And y'all, you cook for me, and you clean for me, and you take care of my kids. I got 2 of these people to do this for me.
And the third one coming. Like, so what says, then there's the chain migration.
No! Only later will Ahmad allow us to interview the wives. He had to allow. Listen, you ain't in the country if you get to. You're allowing your wives to do anything. Back, baby, back.
You almost punched me in the
Go
face.
back to Syria.
Wow.
With your backwards thinking. That's not how we do things. Only later would he allow us to talk to his wives. What is this? You body slam a dude like that.
So what says even the family members of illegals who are up for deportation are allowed into Germany.
Die Ehefrauen zu interviewen.
The house where they live was provided by the community and is paid for by the job center. Here is the room for my first wife, and on the other hand, my second wife. And you know why? Islamophobia. I am polygamophobia. I don't like it. I don't like it. It makes me icky. I think it's disgusting. I think it's perverted. I think it's controlling, and it's above all, it's abusive. Okay.
5 Zimmer.
5 rooms, 2 bathrooms, and a kitchen. That's pretty high living there for free.
I always wanted to come to Germany.
Can we come stay for free? Can we stay for free? Only 1 table.
2 Bäder und die Küche.
Oh man, sorry about
Im
that.
gesamten Haus gibt es nur
2
einen
chairs
Tisch und
through
2
the house,
Stühle,
but they're
die
not
nicht
used. The
genutzt
refugee
werden.
family belongs to a Bedouin
Die
tribe
Flüchtlingsfamilie
that lives
gehört
rather
zu einem
traditionally.
Stamm, der eher traditionell lebt.
Here is the room for my second wife and my children, Turkey and a mirror. Where would your third wife sleep?
Look at this
The
mom's
house
face.
would have to be bigger. Germany'd have to get me a bigger house, man. In Sweden, they got a guy with gave him 2 houses, 1 for each wife.
I don't even have words here.
Look at how happy he is.
Größer werden.
Yay! Isn't that happy? Yo.
Our channel's gonna get banned.
Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe.
I was thinking about it earlier today, this morning. I was on my way to a pet visit, and I was like, all right, so if they're already rolling out the gun thing, at some point they are going to roll out a Muslim thing. And pretty much if you say the word Muslim or Islam, your channel will be banned. I'm guessing. This is pure guess, but I think it's going to happen. So at that point, y'all people need to be prepping. We will be on Facebook until they ban us. We're already on BitChute right now. Our mom, Patriot Gallery, always uploads.
We have. You can find us on Blogger, Isaiah 58 Ministries, and ResistanceChicks.blogspot.
But we upload our videos from YouTube there.
I know.
So without YouTube, we wouldn't be able to upload those videos there.
Right. Exactly. Christianity on the brink. Religion decimated from birthplace. We need help. Christianity is at risk of being all but eliminated from its Middle East birthplace, with priests warning it could be completely disappear from Iraq. Christianity, a leading Catholic charity, has warned, could be reduced to a token religion in the country unless worshippers receive urgent aid. Islamic extremists have driven tens of thousands of Christians from their homes, with Islamic State destroying towns and churches. Now, what's interesting is in Europe, Christianity is dying because people don't want to serve Christ. They don't want to.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to. La Resistance says Mike Adams has a new YouTube platform.
Oh.
I don't know if he's got it up and running yet. I haven't had a chance to.
Well,
look
so
into
what?
It yet, but...
So what? Too up.
No, I mean what I mean is Mike was gonna do a new YouTube.
Right.
A whole new. It's not gonna be YouTube. A whole nother thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That can't have come out that fast yet. But
we'll let you know if he does, though. So we'll get over there. But in the Middle East, where there are some pockets of Christians, they actually want to serve Christ, and they're actually being killed for their faith. What?
Yawned.
Oh,
Sorry,
the sick
I'm not
death
bored,
cult
just tired.
retreats further and further into Iraq and Syria. Some Christians are returning home to find devastation and destruction, with urgent funds needed to rebuild their communities. However, despite this, foreign governments are giving no help to Christians. We had this huge budget thing that just passed called the Omnibus Bill.
Oh my
gosh. And I was reading through those to everyone on Friday.
Just go back and watch Friday's show.
Billions and billions of dollars.
We were going to say the religion that shall not be named.
I know.
No, what we were going to call it? Yeah,
the
that's
religion that shall not be named.
All right.
So about 40 million, I don't know, something sent to China, and it's going to like yak herders or something like that. But Christians aren't really getting any help across the world. One priest said believers could leave Iraq for good unless desperately needed aid was given to them to rebuild 9 Christian towns.
I would be all for funding for something like that.
Father Salar Kajo of the church's Nineveh Reconstruction Committee said, "We have to rebuild now. It will take more time. If we take more time, families will leave and Christianity will disappear from Iraq." He told anti-persecution charity Aid to the Church in Need, help is urgently needed, with many Christians spending the last 3 years as refugees in their own country, Iraq. He says, if the Christians do all go home, this will only be because of help from organizations like the ACN. Father Kajo said few Christians who had returned home immediately made a point of checking on their Muslim neighbors. He said Christian worshipers told they wanted to live in peace and in mixed communities and not be forced to flee their homes and possibly their country. He said the first thing these families did on returning to their villages was go in and through their Muslim neighbors and ask them how they were. And they told them that they wanted to return and live in peace and coexistence. So I wanted to drop that so that we can keep in mind that the Christians are the most persecuted religion in the world today. And they're not the one blowing people up. So there you have it.
It really does make me angry because we know, we accept it. As Christians, it's part of the Bible. It says, persecution will come for the word's sake. It's going to happen. Right. We're actually okay with it. And a lot of times it's a good thing because it means that you're doing something right.
Right.
What bothers me is that it's okay and it's completely accepted because Christians accept it. Because we know it's part and parcel of our job, of what we do, of our lives, of who we are. But these other religions, you say one word against them and they're all up in arms. Mm. They throw a big hissy fit. They can dish it out. They can't take it. And legally now you're being thrown in jail in the UK for speaking out against Islam, because now that's protected under what was it called? The blasphemy laws.
Yeah.
Right? When the blasphemy laws were put into place, and I'm not saying that I agree with them at all, for not speaking out against Christianity. But now the roles have been completely flipped. You would never be put in jail for speaking out against Christianity.
Breaking news here, right here.
Breaking news.
I tweeted this out, but I didn't have a chance to bring it up and read the whole thing on the timing of this. So, 7 hours ago, a girl is seriously hurt after a car drives into a group of children in Glasgow. A teenage girl was seriously hurt when a car was driven deliberately into a group of children in Glasgow. The children aged between 12 and 14 were standing on the pavement near the shops in Castlemilk around 15:30 on Saturday afternoon. A man drove his silver Vauxhall Astra at the group, hitting 5 of the children before driving off. A 14-year-old girl is in serious but stable condition. Police are treating the incident as attempted murder. 4 of the others, 2 girls aged 12 and 14 and 2 boys 12 and 13, were treated for minor injuries. The incident happened at Stravinen Road, and the man drove off towards Bridgedale Road. There was a passenger and another man in the car at a time. There's no suggestion the incident was terrorism related, but they don't know what exactly would have caused somebody to run into a group of children. So we have.
Well, I think once again, it's worth repeating. We need to ban all cars.
Right.
Vehicles.
Yes.
They are relatively new. Okay, guns have been around for at least a little bit longer. You know, a couple hundred years.
Right.
Swords, machetes, knives. They've all been around forever.
Right.
Cars are new. If you're going to ban anything, let's ban the cars.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. They're killing all these people. We got to ban them.
So in Italy, Italy is forming a government, by the way, and they're putting right-wing populists into their government like mad.
I love it.
Pretty exciting. But there's a manhunt launched for a suspected Islamic terrorist after the Italian embassy received a reliable letter he could strike in Rome.
Wow.
Italian media reported last night, Saturday, that the military had been ordered to search 42-year-old Maffalui Etef, who has been identified as a possible bomber. See this face anywhere? A suspected radical Islamic terrorist from Tanzania is at the center of an urgent manhunt amid fears he could set strike in Rome. The Italian media reported last night that the military had been ordered to search for him. The alarm was raised after Italian embassy staff received an anonymous letter thought to be reliable that claimed he was ready to hit Rome, the center of Rome, with an attack. So on the
this is incredible. I almost feel like this is the first of its kind that I have seen in a long time, where they've already issued his photo. They've released it. They're trying to do something proactively.
Right.
Kudos to Italy. Here's the thing. All of these other countries, including our own, they all get this same intelligence. They know that these attacks are going to happen well before they happen. You know when you want to know the difference? Your government, our government, they don't care. They want it to happen. They allow it to happen. The deep state, the CIA here in the United States, they allow these things to happen. Italy is the first to, hey, we got this intelligence. We got to get it out to the people. Maybe we can stop it. It's madman. Yeah, let's try that, governments. They all get this intelligence. They know that these attacks are going to happen. They don't come as a surprise. They do not.
This is an interesting little tidbit. In this Dutch mayor of The Hague, Pauline Krijk, was robbed in her own city earlier this month.
Wouldn't it be pronounced Hague?
I said The Hague, the Hague, whatever. She was robbed, but she didn't want to tell anybody about it. Her neighborhood is actually characterized as a problem area and numerous radical Muslims. But she didn't want to tell anybody that she was robbed. She didn't strike fear in anybody or anything. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit right there. So, yeah. Poland celebrates Palm Sunday in their traditional dress.
That's fantastic. Look at all the flowers.
They're beautiful, actually.
Aww.
Where do they grow those flowers?
That's really fun. Do you think they're real flowers, though?
I don't know. The presidents of Hungary and Poland marked Day of Hungarian-Polish Friendship. The Hungarian president, János Adir, received his Polish counterpart, Andrzej
Duda.
I know Duda. Andrzej Duda, at a ceremony with military honors in Veszprém in western Hungary on Friday afternoon. The two heads of state marked the occasion of Polish-Hungarian Friendship Day in the city.
That's
The
fantastic.
Hungarian and Poles have always honored their friendships by respecting, aiding, and appreciating each other. He said, "This is a friendship that has weathered grueling world wars and political disputes and survived the dictatorships of two nations and had to endure simultaneously." Duda said that Poland and Hungary both strive for security and also a dignified, fair, and honest Europe nurturing other countries' development. Difficulties and conflicting views on the future of Europe and the world notwithstanding, we are the ones that succeed, that are going to make the world a better place, he said. If asylum seekers were forcefully settled in Poland, they would also have to be kept there by force, and Poland rejects that option. Duda told a press conference in the afternoon, Duda and Poland had always argued for solving the root causes of migration where they arise so that the dislocated can return home after the conflicts are settled. He insisted that Poland already fulfills its obligations regarding migration by receiving hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians every year. As they find jobs there, they do not go farther, he said, praising cooperation between Hungary and Poland. And then they had a festive
I'm really
mass.
excited to see these kinds of things because Poland and Hungary are not huge, but their alliance, and especially with the Czech Republic, is becoming a, stalwart, bastion, whatever, the wall against the European Union, against these migrants that are coming in. And so we talk to our friends at IPP TV frequently. We've done some interviews with them.
Their interview with us is up. I tweeted it out. You can get it on my Twitter. I need to share it
fantastic.
on Facebook.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'll put that link in the description to our latest video with them.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They don't get to see what we see from the outside looking in.
Right.
What Poland and Hungary look like to the rest of the world.
Right.
They still have problems just like everybody else. People in Poland are not perfect. They need a lot of healing. But compared to the rest of the world, almost just because they haven't allowed the migrants in, but not really. There's a lot more to it. But they have, Jasper's still outside. They have just become this beacon of hope. We can see these countries standing together and saying, we put God first, we put our people first, and we are protecting our country as a sovereign nation. They're a populist nation, and they still have, here's the difference. I want you to notice something here. What we are seeing disappear from all of these countries all over Europe is their culture. And it's really, really heartbreaking and sad. But in Hungary and in Poland, their culture is wholeheartedly embraced. They are not losing it. And I'm seeing, German culture, I always just think of beer. When I think of Germany, I know there's a lot more culture to it than that. But, the barmaids and stuff like that. I'm singing.
I just think sausage, man.
But then you have the Italian culture and the Spanish culture and British culture. We're seeing that lost all over Europe, but we're not seeing it lost in Poland, and we're not seeing it lost in Hungary. Here, Leah. There you go. So I'm seeing this as something that's super duper exciting. So
that's it. That's all I got.
That's all the news that you have. Here's the thing. Leah had asked me. You left this door open.
For the dog. I thought the dog might want to go out there.
But it's chilly.
Sorry.
Mom told me to wear a sweater. She's like, you never wear sweaters on the show. So I wear a sweater. I'm still cold in the sweater. I have 2 pairs of pants on too. Now you know all the details of my life. And I'm hungry. And I'm tired. But I love you all. And that's why we're here.
You're not supposed to tell people. Just stop.
But they're like family.
No.
Yes. All right. So do we want to go straight to this?
Yeah. I do.
This
package from Sean and Tracy.
From Sean and Tracy for Leah's birthday.
Hertfordshire. I love to say that.
Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire.
I hope Sean and Tracy are still here.
In Shire.
I'm closing the door.
Show's almost over. Dog is fine. Party's over. Shut it down.
And we are on BitChute. It's spelled BITCHUTE. For those of you that don't know and are not familiar with that.
So we got a stun gun. Mom did.
We tried it out yesterday, but not on anyone. We just
We're
kind
not
of did the
starting
thing.
it. Yes,
You're only supposed to
exactly.
pull the thing for a second.
1 second at a time. All right. Beautiful handwriting as always, Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy has amazing handwriting.
Yeah, Leah and Michelle. We've posted this a tad too late to arrive by the 11th of March, but we hope it arrives safely. Unfortunately, they sent a package of good chocolates last year, and it got sent back to them. So then they sent it back. It's like a month of traveling.
That's awful. We ate them and they were
We are
really
so
good.
grateful that we have been able to adopt you into our spiritual family, and I'm just as grateful that we have been able to sneak into yours. We enclose a birthday gift for Leah, wrapped in the blue, and a fun gift for Patriot Gallery in red. Please remember, it's just for fun. You have another packet to follow. Please look for it. Thank you again for all your wonderful videos and allowing us into your home. Viva la Resistance Chicks. All I love, Sean and Tracy. Oh, it's kind of, feel it.
So Sean says, Tracy, it's me, with the nice handwriting. He's like, no, just kidding. It's Tracy.
Aha. Oh, it's
Oh,
so
that
beautiful.
is
It's
really
lovely.
pretty.
Have a lovely
Absolutely
birthday.
lovely.
I don't think we'd have a card in the United States that said have a lovely birthday.
No.
It's definitely
Have a lovely birthday.
Decidedly British. Have a
It's
lovely
pronounced
birthday.
Hertfordshire.
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 On my heart. Wishing you a very happy birthday to Leah Face. Wishing you another year filled with love, health, and happiness. Your friends across the pond, Sean and Tracy.
It's a really pretty card.
Beautiful card. All right.
So yours is in the blue.
Mine is in the blue.
Really taped
well. Taped. Well done. Well taped, my friends. I think it's beautiful already. All right. I'm just throw it on the ground. Oh, it's adorable.
Oh my
I love it.
gosh.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take.
That's so beautiful.
That's Proverbs 3:5-6.
Aww.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. I absolutely love this. The power of the cross. What sets Christianity apart from every other belief system in the world? Wow. And it has a little thing. Jesus came to seek and save that was the lost. So it's like a little Christian.
It's like a
tract with it. I love it. And it's perfect for Easter too.
Oh, it is perfect just in time for Easter. Here, put it behind you.
We will, along with our Polish
Hussar.
All right. So since Patriot Gallery does not like to be seen, would you like to open Patriot Galleries?
No, it's your birthday month. You should open it.
It doesn't.
I actually know what this is. I haven't seen it, but I know what it is. Okay, so there's a backstory for this. Eric Buskey made this puppet for Patriot Gallery and sent it. And then that same day, Tracy said, I have made a hand puppet for Patriot Gallery because she always comes in front of the... It's so stinking adorable. I don't have words. It's so cute. No, you gotta show the lips. Show the lips better. There you go. Here, wait. Let me show you what it looks like so you can see what you're doing here.
Hello, I can see.
There you
Hello.
go. Hello. She is going to have a blast. The thing about the big one is I have to man it from back here. But the thing about the hand one is that Patriot Gallery will be able to still come from, and it's got long hair. Hold it up higher so they can see the long. I don't know how you knew that she had long hair like we do.
So
still,
I wasn't sure how you were going to do this hand puppet thing.
Mom says I love it. Scream.
I think she'll use this a lot.
Oh, she's going to use it. Yep, she is
I
totally
really
going to use that. Yep. I am no longer naked, she says. La Resistance says the Patriot Gallery is beautiful.
And I have green eyes. Can you see them? Thank you, Tracy. It's lovely. Just simply lovely.
Absolutely lovely.
I like puppets.
Yeah.
Myself. I could just do this all day long too, you see. It's fun.
Oh my gosh.
Tracy, this is really fun.
Really
and
fun.
it fits actually really well on your hand. So it's absolutely adorable. I don't know what else to say.
It is
so
really cute.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Oh my gosh. Get it
Did
to
you have a
say
nice
I'm
birthday?
Hillary. What happened?
I really did.
Get it to say I'm Hillary. What happened? Patriot Gallery is not. Hillary.
Dare let me pretend to be Hillary. Never!
Cecilian Gal says A+ to Shawnee's show and Tracy.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Michelle, UK fishing protection with HMS Forth. I could pull that up actually. Let me see. No, that's not what I want.
We're having a good time tonight.
Wow, yeah. I'm actually just gonna pull up this video.
I love puppets.
Yeah. I love puppets. There was actually two of them. I'm trying to decide which one I like better. That Barry had sent.
People were promised we'd take back control on the 30th of March 2019, and that's now been delayed, and that could potentially be disastrous for our fishing communities, who of course were the biggest losers on the day we joined the European Union back in 1973, European Economic Community as it then was, and ought to have been the first beneficiaries from our departure.
But you know this is part of the transition deal, and you also know that the Prime Minister made it very clear there were going to have to be compromises on both sides.
This is compromising with people's livelihoods. I mean, the argument that you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs is all very well until you're dealing with people's livelihoods and potentially putting them out of business.
Well, the stunt, which was organised to gain maximum attention ahead of today's Prime Minister's questions, was supposed to start with a Riverside media conference. So that is the boat. It has arrived here at Embankment, but turns out it's not allowed to stop. So they're sort of doing a sail by, and then they're going to carry on up to Westminster and stop at Parliament. Best laid plans. A little further up the river, they were finally able to pull in, and we're told a certain Mr. Farage got on board just in time for some high-profile fish dumping right in front of the Palace of Westminster. Well, that was it. They made it to the Houses of Parliament. Nigel Farage got on the boat, they threw some fish off the boat, and now they're sailing off up the river.
It's on, isn't it?
I can't wait.
We're along here today because the transition at the government has capitulated to where we'll still have to re-obey the disastrous common fisheries policy, presents a death sentence to what's left of the UK fishing industry. It's not just 21 months that we can survive through. The European Union can implement detrimental legislation to cull what's left of the UK's fishing industry, and then that would allow them to use international law to claim the fish, our resources that we'd be no longer able to catch ourselves due to the loss of our fleet.
On the 29th of March next year, when we finally leave the European Union, instead of seizing on that great Brexit prize, which is taking back control of our waters, we are literally, within seconds of leaving, handing back all that control straight back to the European Union, staying within the hated common fisheries policy, which has done so much damage to coastal communities across the country. So it's here to show the government that we are unhappy with that, and that actually they need to rectify this by getting it right when we leave and ensuring that on the 1st of January 2021 we genuinely are an independent coastal state.
Well, we need a Prime Minister that says, I'm sorry, fishing is the acid test of Brexit. It's the ultimate image of our sovereignty, our territorial waters, and we are going to take them back. Please, Mrs May. I mean, you talk tough on Russia, please talk tough on this at the European Summit tomorrow.
So,
because the transition at the government has capitulated to we will still have to re-obey the disastrous common fisheries policy, presents a death sentence to what's left of the UK fishing industry. It's not just 21 months that we can survive through. The European Union can implement detrimental legislation to cull what's left of the UK's fishing industry, and then that would allow them to use international law to claim the fish, our resources that we'd be no longer able to catch ourselves due to the loss of our fleet. So the transition is an existential threat to the UK fishing industry, and therefore we cannot be in the CFP, or we will go back to years ago when we saw hundreds of boats taken to Denmark and torn to pieces and scrapped. And that's why we're doing this demonstration today. Over to Ross.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you so much for organising today. It's so important that we show that we're on the side of our fishermen, because the great Brexit prize is that we can take back our sovereignty, take back control of our...
Pretty much said that again, but...
Could somebody... Okay,
the great...
that sounds Scottish. Are those people Scottish?
Because that X is... I don't know.
Is that another part of... whatever that accent is, I could just listen to it all day long.
Is that what...
The great
I want to say it's like Glasgow or something.
We're going to lose our fishing fleet.
Lose.
They're going to destroy the boats.
For those of you that don't understand, our American viewers, which is part and parcel of why we do this show, so that our American viewers can understand what's happening.
British colonialism has now shrunken to actually not even have their own territorial waters.
They can't even fish.
Yeah.
Outside. I think it's... I'm going to get this wrong, but I want to say it's like 10% right now. It's something ridiculously low. So when you leave the European Union, you should get your fishing waters back. But for some reason, the plan is that the fishing water rights go back to the European Union, which is absolutely Newcastle. Thank you. Sounds like Sean Connery.
Yeah. So how the Brexit transition deal will let the UK fishing industry down. One part of the UK and EU transitions deal
it's 40%,
that is causing controversies over fishing rights and access to UK waters for EU vessels. Negotiators have agreed that the UK will effectively remain part of the EU's common fisheries policy, but without a direct say in its rules until 2021. News of the deal was met with anger from organizations representing fishermen, with the Scottish Fishermen's Federation, was that him? There's a Scottish... Bertie Armstrong stating that if it falls far short of an acceptable deal...
Close.
It does. It is in a direct contradiction of the assurances of Michael Gove, Environment Secretary and Brexit campaigner. Earlier this year, he told the fishing industry that the common fisheries policy would no longer apply and that the UK would effectively become an independent coastal state after March 2019. So what... all been just waiting one more year. One more year. Just got to get to March 2019. And that would mean that the UK would negotiate with other coastal states such as Norway, Iceland, and the EU regarding access to each other's waters, as opposed to being part of this common bloc.
And so what says the Norwegians and the Dutch fish it all off, which is true, especially about the Dutch. I knew more about the Dutch than the Norwegians. But
the fishing makes up a very small proportion of the UK's GDP and is sometimes seen as a relatively unimportant sector of the economy, but it has huge regional importance in areas such as Cornwall and northeast of Scotland and Shetland, where it represents a significant part of the local community, as well as the cultural identity of these areas. Now, so when we think of England, we think of young men going to sea, whether as fishermen or to fight on naval vessels or what have you.
Pause. Sean's going to bed, and they sent the gift, and I want to say thank you again for the gifts.
Good night, Sean. Have a great morning delivering milk in a few hours. And Patriot Guy says, good night, Sean. Thank you very much. I'm no longer naked. Yay! So, thank you. Awesome. Thank you. So anyways, this is a huge deal, and to me, it hits something even more important. And that is the fact that when you're fishing, you're outside. And when you're fishing, you're usually your own boss. And those are two things that
Visit DiscountTire.com to get the best brands at the lowest prices guaranteed.
Sorry. We'll play this in a second. Finish your sentence.
You have another thing to play? Go ahead, play it.
From Barry.
All right, one more thing.
That he had sent. Let me pop this over to this one. Peace and go.
What? You haven't played World of Warships yet? Why the hell not?
You need to skip
Playing World of Warships will...
Royal Navy unveils its newest patrol ship HMS Forth in Portsmouth. The Royal Navy's newest patrol ship docked in her home base port yesterday.
He said go back to the
HMS Forth, which can carry out duties from fishery protection to counter piracy, From anti-terrorism to humanitarian relief, is the first of 5 new patrol vessels due by 2020. The Navy says the pound 110 million ships operating out of Portsmouth will become its eyes and ears around the UK, as well as protecting the Falklands and deploying around the world. The 2,000-ton vessels are 4 knots faster than the existing 15-year-old patrol ships with a top speed of 24 knots and have more powerful armaments. Built by Systems on the Clyde, the Forth is fitted with a 30mm automatic cannon as the main armament instead of the 20mm gun on her older sisters. The cannon is backed up by 2 miniguns and 4 machine guns. Normally operating with a crew of 34, the Forth has room for 70 sailors plus accommodation for 50 Royal Marines. She is supported by a Merlin-size helicopter and is capable of staying at sea for 35 days. Commander Bob Laverty said, "It's a huge privilege to be the first commanding officer of HMS Forth. I am delighted to be the first to bring her into Portsmouth. These ships are vastly more capable and can provide the Royal Navy with a range of flexibility from fishery protection to deploying overseas on counter-smuggling operations and protecting British overseas territories." HMS Forth is expected to undertake her first naval deployment later this year. She will be followed into service by HMS Trent.
So, it sounds as if they're trying to make moves to protect their fishing fleet, but what good is it to protect the fleet?
Right.
If there's no, what good is it to protect the fishing waters if they're not even yours?
I guess estimates are around the UK can fish about 30% of their own fish, leaving 70% unfishable. And here's the thing. Each country has natural resources, and you need to exploit your own natural resources and not go taking it from other people. But when you're part of this European communist state, then we allocate to other people in an unfair manner.
Right.
Completely unfair. I have, pigs out there. Somebody says, you know what? I want you to be part of this block. You have more pigs than this person, so you give them some. No,
Right.
I'm not going to do that. Why am I going to do that? They're mine, right? This is British fishing waters for thousands of years. And suddenly you're part of the EU now. And now you can't have your waters. And what I was saying before was fishing is actually one of those professions that I really get behind, because these are guys who are working.
Hey, Jesus was the fisher of men.
They're working with their bodies. They're working with their minds. They're working with nature. They're out there in the sea, and you really feel life. You're actually living. You're not in an office behind a keyboard.
Right.
And I would love to see, as many UK fishermen as the sea will sustain.
It's just fishermen.
Fisher people. 92% of skippers, UK skippers, voted to leave. This is a huge deal, and it is a lifeblood for the UK. I mean, like, you're an island, for goodness sake. Your biggest asset is the water that surrounds you. You're an island.
Literally, this not says international waters are the oldest borders.
Yes, exactly. That's the one thing that UK people should be able to grow up to be, is fishermen. Everybody who wants to be a fisherman, really wants to do it. Should have an opportunity to be a fisher.
Stuart the Brit says,
person.
We have been having fish wars for many years with the Spanish, French, etc. This will never stop. You know what? It's a little bit different. The fish wars, okay, what are your borders? Whatever. When there are waters that are clearly yours.
Right.
And you can't fish.
When the EU is above. So it was like France against Spain against England. Y'all have been fighting since like the beginning of time over everything. Marrying people, trying to get things and all that stuff. Y'all are going to bicker. You're like brothers and sisters. You all are always going to fight. Okay? Right. But then you have this totalitarian ogre called the EU who's telling y'all what to do. And it's like one of the things, like, we can fight, but I don't want somebody telling me how to solve my argument with my sister.
True. Okay? I like that you said that. Yeah.
I don't know. No big ogre in the sky is going to come over and tell me what to do. Maybe Jesus. Jesus tells me what to do.
Jack Russell says the EU paid to destroy our fishing fleet. No surprise there. So what says the EU will fail, 100% guaranteed. That's
Praise the Lord.
encouraging.
Praise the Lord. I
Our mom,
agree.
Patriot Gallery, wants us to bring more hope to the show with Y'all Need Jesus.
Y'all
Start with
need
there.
Jesus.
You're going to make up a song. Okay, when
No.
Leah left earlier, she said your job is to find some songs.
You got one? Hello. I was gone. Hello. I feel like touching your face today. I don't know why.
Your hands are really cold.
I know. Maybe that's why. And your face is warm. So finger your face. Hallelujah. So there it was. We're ending our show. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance 6. Ring that bell
for notifications.
Hopefully you'll get them.
Find us on Facebook on Resistance Chicks. Follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
I think somehow the Polish people got confused when we say find us on Facebook because they just keep sending us all of these friend requests. We just keep accepting them. The Polish people are safe. Sometimes crazy people, we just don't accept the crazy people. If you're American or whatever, we're not accepting friend requests. I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. But the Polish people, they're friends with they're already friends with our other Polish people. We just accept their friend requests. We got like 800 friends. No, not really, but we have. All right. No, we're not going to sing Jerusalem. Barry. Not going to happen. What do you got? Okay. We can sing that one. We can do it. This is The Air I Breathe. That's the name of the song. Literally, not just The Air I Breathe. It's a Hillsong song. Jack Russell says, our fishermen are desperate to not be tied up in this damaging transition.
Anybody have anything on Facebook?
Facebook Live, no. No updated comments on Facebook Live. But I want to thank our Facebook Live people for joining us. There's people that watch us. As a matter of fact, it's really fascinating. You guys might be interested to know that we've been streaming live on Facebook and obviously simulcasting with our YouTube channel, which is our main stream. And the view count on our Facebook videos goes well into the thousands often.
Yeah.
So that's really encouraging. So our videos are getting out on Facebook too. So I know a lot of you guys sometimes get discouraged since we've been censored. Your videos aren't getting enough views. They need more views. But they are. They're getting them on Facebook. So let me correct the camera here to include Leah and not just Leah's arm. Oh, that was. Oh, that's my knife.
This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken to me, and I'm desperate for you, oh Lord, and I'm lost without you, lost without you. All right. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken to me, and
So thank you guys for being here. Thank you to all of our moderators, Britt, Baza, Kelly, Gary, Maia, Worth a Look, Donna Terry, Patriot Gallery, aka Mass Faith 3. I want to thank you guys for being here today. I want to do a couple of shout outs. Porky Prickly Pants has one of those channels that, and the name, you know, not
Could
sure.
you give us a first name for that? Because it's kind of...
But it has one of those channels that puts out really good clips, little short clips. So you guys can go and subscribe to them. Adeline had sent me a message the other day. I'm not sure if you know that this person has like 6,000 or 60,000 subscribers, and I didn't. I was not sure. So I checked that out, so you guys can go and subscribe there. Chris Holman's been putting out a lot of different vlogs on his channel, health ones, daily vlogs. So I want you guys to go and subscribe to his channel as well. So I think that's all the shout outs that I have for today. I want to thank you, Barry, for sending us videos. Worth a Look sent us some stuff and links for our show. So we're going to sign off here. We go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Sunday, like we did today, at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now that Europe has caught up with us in daylight savings, it's now 5 hours ahead in the UK. The Poland interview that we did is up. I'm going to put the link in the description so you guys can find it. Who knows when you'll see us. Kansas's birthday is on Tuesday. We also have kind of a family special thing that's going on in our extended family on Tuesday that we're really excited about. I have to wait to see if I can get permission to reveal what that is. So, thank you guys for being here. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Have a wonderful day of rest. And Easter Sunday.
Will we be here next Sunday?
We're not sure. I have no idea. We're super incredibly busy.
Yeah.
Right now is spring break for a lot of people in our area. And that means we work. When everybody else takes off on holidays,
Right.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, spring break, that's when we work. People are off on the weekends, we work.
Right.
So I have no idea. I'm going to have to get back with you guys on that to see if we will be back for Easter.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We may have to do a special Monday show or something like that.
Yeah, we would love to. We would really love to be here for you with you guys on Easter. Leah's got another song.
Well, I just thought we could go out on it, but yeah. What was that? Oh, one song's not quite enough.
Look at the lighting. I look like a
Weird.
ghost.
Oh my gosh! Did you see that
should go
clip I
stand
tagged
behind
you
you.
in from that Brian Sikowski showed on Facebook?
Yeah.
With
Was
Thor?
Brian was here earlier? Six was
with
here.
Thor. With the
I'm
lights
really
coming
not
out
that
of
much lighter than Leah.
That
Let me
light
put my
coming out,
face,
like when
there.
you did that last thing. There you go.
I'm
Just come
the
on
same
in.
color
You can
as
come
you.
here with me.
No, now I'm just like pale.
But with his light coming out of his eyes and ears,
It's
I figured
amazing how
out
the
that
camera
the
does
other
that.
night when you were doing that at the end, you're just Thor.
Yeah, I am Thor. Definitely Thor. Did we sing this one the other day?
Yeah, but it just came to me, so why not?
Why not?
Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way, from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay, from the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way, from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay, from the cross to the grave, from
That's Jasper. You had it right. Or is that Sydney?
She loves to be a star.
So Maia put a link to Chris's latest video in the chat there, so you guys.
So nice of you.
Only the moderators can post links.
How are the kittens?
How are the kittens, Maia? From what I heard, they ended up with 3.
Is the mom doing okay? Kittens. Is it the mom's doing okay and nursing away?
So what says, I will play 1 Ton Tomato later. I don't enjoy the song. I don't like it. I listen to it. I don't like it. He asks for it all the time now. It's just become a thing. I don't like the song. I just do not. All right, you guys. So no, we're really going to sign off. We'll see you this week sometime. Who knows when? At least by Friday, but hopefully before then. All right, you guys. We love you. God bless.
I was cold.